Alright, hello guys, welcome back to another video. So I wanted to come on here to make an update video to the situation we last talked about. If you guys don't remember, we talked about Wilbur Soot and his allegations. Yes guys, his fucking allegations. And yeah, just for a little bit of a recap here, the allegations that were made against Wilbur Soot were actually allegations of abuse. These allegations came from his ex-girlfriend, Shubble or Shelby, and how these allegations came out where she went on a stream and she started talking about one of her exes and how this ex really wasn't a good person, and she went on to accuse this ex of abuse and other things. And yeah, essentially when this came out, a lot of people thought it was Wilbur without it 100% being Wilbur, and then Wilbur after this put out a statement, and I would like to call this a statement because it didn't look like he was actually trying to apologize here, because I don't think that's what he was trying to do. And the reason why I don't think he was trying to do that was because saying sorry, especially when it comes down to things like this, like generally just saying sorry or apologizing for something that you may or may not have done, it's an admission of guilt essentially, and I could understand why you would not do that, because realistically when it comes down to it, and also if I were him I wouldn't have immediately responded to this. She came out with allegations against him and she showed literally no evidence to back up her claims besides the fact that we know that Wilbur Soot is into biting. And you can hate on me all you want for saying that, but that quite frankly is how it is. Like, I'm not 100% believing you at face value if you're not going to show evidence, and I don't really know if there is any evidence, but still, like, you have to have things to back your claims. Now when it comes down to Wilbur, he did say that he has some evidence that would vindicate him, but he said he wasn't going to post it because, you know, he didn't want to be disrespectful and he didn't want to diminish or invalidate anyone's feelings. That's exactly what he said. And honestly, with that decision, really fucking stupid. Like, if you have something that's going to vindicate you and save your career, why would you just hold it and not post it? Because I mean, if you've been on Twitter for like the past 48 hours, you would see how fucking bad it is and how much hate there was against Wilbur Soot, and there still is hate. There's a lot of hate going around towards this guy. And I don't necessarily know if it's justified or not, but I mean, some of the things that some people are saying on Twitter is just fucking insane to me, let alone that she didn't back any of her claims. Now we'll talk a little bit more about what people are saying a little bit later in this video, but for now it looks like we have a response from Shubble, and this is new by the way. She said, "Thank you for listening," heart emoji, and then here's what she says. "I thought a lot about what I would say when I came back. Firstly, I want to say the biggest thank you to everyone showing their support. I never felt so loved and cared for, and I've never seen so many communities come together to have someone's back like this. I'm so proud of everyone taking such a powerful stance against these actions. I never could have imagined this response. While I didn't do this myself, through sharing my story, I have healed more parts of myself I had no idea were still pained. I'd like to address the apology. Quite frankly, I've never seen an apology so self-centered. I hate to barge in, but I don't think it was an apology. It seems to purposely misconstrue the issue I very clearly laid out. My issue was not being bit, it was with being hurt. And to vaguely apologize for any hurt while knowing we needed a safe word because I was being hurt so often by accident and I continued to hurt daily is incredibly disrespectful, but not more disrespectful than not even saying my name. I believe I am referred to as ex-girlfriend, so if you don't know who he's talking about, you might not found out what he did. This is not how you take accountability. Not only are there no DMs whatsoever where it is expressed that I enjoy being hurt by my partner, to imply there was consent in text over an issue that entirely happened in person, where every conversation happened about it in person, is ridiculous. He knows how often I asked for him to stop hurting me, that I didn't like it, and that I didn't like being covered in bruises all the time. Entirely why he switched to biting my legs so no one would ever think I looked abused, why he continued to hurt me. He either didn't take my pleas for it to stop seriously, or he didn't hear them at all. I felt lost for so long, truly losing myself in this relationship. I abandoned my personal morals, neglected friends, and lied for this person. With every time I spoke up being ignored, I shrank. I lost my fight. I stayed locked up in a house I had no key for and didn't even try to leave anymore. People ask why we stay, and it's so hard to explain ourselves because we've abandoned all our reasoning. I wasn't safe anymore with this person, but I couldn't see that. I loved him and he told me he tried to stop hurting me. I'm deeply saddened by how many more friends were hurt by his actions, but I'm so thankful to everyone doing the absolute most and making sure I've been okay over the last few days. Thank you to everyone who's reached out to me. Thank you, Shubble Support Squad. Every day I read your messages and see your art, and it makes me feel truly like the bravest girl in the world. world. I think the good that comes out of victims sharing their experiences so others can learn and avoid similar pain or come to terms with ways they were mistreated is the most important thing in this moment. You cannot treat people this way without consequence. You cannot pretend you don't know the harm you cause. You cannot pretend going to therapy fixes all past mistakes. All of the love that's been shared for me over the past few days is for every victim of abuse. Our lives are forever changed by these experiences. I now struggle with memory problems and extreme anxiety, and it may be a while before I feel fully like myself, whoever she is. But I know I have my spark back. Please remember how brave and how strong you are. We shouldn't be expected to be silent when we are mistreated. So yeah, it looks like that's Shubble's response. I'm not really sure how I feel about this or overall this whole situation, as I'm not really the biggest fan of people coming out with really damning allegations like these and simply just not backing them up, because we know about the biting stuff, but we don't know exactly what happened despite what she is saying. Because on one side we have Shubble or Shelby saying that she was abused by Wilbur, and then on the other side we have Wilbur saying that the allegation of abuse, particularly in the form of biting, was what he understood to be consensual, playful, and reciprocally enjoyed. Now personally, if I was Wilbur, I probably wouldn't have responded to this immediately despite all of the backlash that he was getting, because a lot of people see this statement as like an admission of guilt and that he actually did do what she's accusing him of doing, and I don't know if that's necessarily true, and I'm not defending either one of them, but I like for things like this to be fair, and I want to see what both sides have before I just like pick somebody's side or say somebody was an abuser or somebody was slandering somebody else. Because like I said in my last video, I do not want to have another Quite situation. I don't want to have another Dream situation where people are falsely accused and they essentially have their careers ruined because of malicious people on the internet. But yeah, anyways, moving on. One thing that I've been hearing a lot from a lot of people, and one thing that I can agree on here, is that if you believe that you were actually abused and like bad things happened to you that were illegal, why didn't you go to the police when it happened? Or right after it happened? Or even right now? Why instead did you decide to bring it to the internet to try and destroy his career over getting actual help? And if he actually did do this stuff, why not get him behind bars instead? Like, that's something I really don't understand, and I'm surprised more people haven't brought up this point. Because while doing some research on the whole topic, once again, because there were new developments, I was going through people's videos and their comments and stuff. I was going through Twitter and stuff, and there were victims of domestic abuse commenting on the situation, bringing up the same point. Because why wouldn't you want to go to the police?
He would even joke that it looked like he abused me. And eventually he did acknowledge how bad it looked, that I was covered in bruises all the time.
There's just all bunch of stuff we're missing here. When did they break up? She's going to YouTube. That's a terrible sign.
He stopped.
I didn't realize it was being abused. It could be one of those. Well, we've seen a couple of those situations where I didn't realize it. So you got a bunch of people tell you should do something. You should go to YouTube. And they get encouraged. They get actually pushed into it by friends and other kooks around them. We've seen that before.
Biting my arm.
Not saying that's what happened here yet, but yeah, this is hitting all the
as often, and he started biting my legs instead. So I broke up with him, and I didn't even want to.
Why not? He's forcibly biting you, and then like, oh wow, you got too many bruises. Got to bite your leg.
It sounds more like, like a guy who gives his girl too many hickeys and she gets annoyed by it. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of a hindrance than actual abuse.
I will say this: it's not proof of anything, but her delivery sounds like that. I hate when he gives me hickeys.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't even see for such a long time after what it really was that had happened.
That gets me suspicious. Yeah. Because you imagine telling her girlfriend, who's a fucking kook, right? And she kind of casually tells me, "Oh, it was really annoying," and like, you were abused. This is like sexual assault. It is. Yes.
Yeah.
He had abused me. And in fact, we left things as we want to be friends, and he can't.
That doesn't make any sense.
Like, there are just a lot of things that do not make sense in this, and there are a lot of things left out also, on top of the fact that she's bringing up things that really don't even matter when it comes down to talking about the abuse. I mean, initially she talks about the alleged abuse, right? And then she goes on to talk about how he was dirty and how he didn't clean up, he didn't take care of himself, he had an ant infestation, and all of these things that really don't matter when it comes down to like alleging the abuse. And this comes off to me and some of the other people people covering the situation as trying to assassinate his character. And that's why there are people out here criticizing, because you totally ruin your credibility doing things like this. And that's why you have people like Larix, Tommy C, Papa Gut, Asparagus, and other people questioning your every move, let alone that you don't have evidence. Or maybe you do have it, but you're just not showing it. I don't know which one it is. But anyways, moving on. Enough talking about Shubble here. I wanted to also talk about Wilbur, because it's not like he's a saint or anything like that. And I 100% am not defending him here. But like, honestly, if I were Wilbur, I probably would have just stayed silent or just flat out denied it if I knew it wasn't true or was different from the way that she was saying it. And also, if I do have evidence that vindicates me, like I said earlier in the video, I would have put that out instantly. Because if you even think just a little bit that these people are being bad faith and they're slandering you, which I'm not saying they are, then maybe you should put out some receipts so that people can actually back you and defend you if you're actually innocent. Like, I don't know if he has a PR team behind him that's telling him, oh, this is the best course of action that we need to take right now, or what, but like, I genuinely don't know what he's doing, and I don't know what he's going to do about the situation realistically, because quite frankly, he's fucked. He literally is fucked. Regardless if he did it or not, he's fucked, unless he can somehow vindicate himself and prove that things didn't happen this way. And I mean, we saw it with Dream. Even if he does vindicate himself, like, people are gonna still call him an abuser for like the rest of his fucking career. Now, also, speaking of Dream and his whole statement on the situation, I replied to some people's comments on my last video talking about Dream, because a lot of people happen to be giving Dream props for this. And I was telling people, he's literally pandering. Like, you guys literally think that Dream gives a fuck about the situation? You really do? Like, okay, in all reality, why would Dream put out a statement going after a guy who has been accused of something really bad like abuse, with little to no evidence, by the way, and take what she said at face value as if it's like fact, despite the fact that we don't know if it's true or not? It could easily be slander, or she could be manipulating the truth. Like, why would he do that without knowing it's true or false when this pretty much happened to him too? But instead, with his situation, it was way more than one person. I mean, if you think about it, this makes him a fucking hypocrite, because I don't really think he enjoyed people slandering him and having people initially, when the allegations came out, just believe the accuser with no evidence. Like, I don't really think he enjoyed that. And wasn't the whole point of his video where he addressed the allegations to say in a way that it's wrong to just believe people at face value when there's no evidence, when people are accusing other people of really heinous things?
So let's talk about fake allegations and how horrible they are. It's become a bit of a trend in the online space, or at least the gaming space, to fake grooming allegations. There have been fake allegations against Bad Boy Halo, which the person ended up tweeting and admitting they were fake and saying that they're just kids that made a mistake after he legally threatened them. There have been fake allegations made against Sapnap that, again, they admitted were fake. After I replied this time and called out something that was wrong with their story, they continued to lie and try and convince me, though. There have been false allegations against Carl, Rambo, Wilbur, probably every Minecraft gaming creator you know. Me saying any name doesn't even matter. Not everyone gets traction, and not everyone has as much effort put into it, but there have been hundreds. There were a few notable ones against me during the last month. One was disproved because it was proved that the video was edited based on a frame hop. Another was disproved because of a photo in the background was from Tumblr. But there was one thing similar between all of them. They all showed fake evidence. They all showed fake edited Snapchats. They all showed fake edited pictures or videos. And that is scary. But sometimes they didn't even need evidence. Someone tweeted out that I wasn't working on my video, that I was actually out meeting a fan I met when they were 16 at a bar, and that I got stood up and laughed at by everyone. And this just didn't even happen, but you don't even need any proof. It was Thanksgiving and I was charging my car by my grandparents' house, and I went to a non-alcoholic bar and played ping pong and was never stood up by anybody. They can just make up whatever they want and rudely take secret pictures of me, and people will believe it. This is crazy stalker behavior. They even said that I was the most ass ping pong player in the place when I was undefeated. They even had to lie and slander my ping pong record. People will take a claim with almost no evidence and run with it and ruin people's lives, hundreds of jobs, families, not even just when it's me. It may only be a trend in the Minecraft space right now, but it won't be that way for long. Be careful what you believe and ask questions. Believing real victims is important, but not believing fake victims is very important to real victims.
Like, according to Dream's logic here, I guess he's a groomer, a pedo, and all the things that they accused him of being. Because that's basically what he is doing by putting out this statement, acting as if what Shubble said is fact, when we don't necessarily know if it's fact or not quite yet. Like, it's insane. It's literally rules for thee, not for me. And he's essentially throwing somebody else under the bus to look good. That's why we're saying that he's pandering. Because literally, if it were turned turned on him and somebody did this to him, he would most likely have the biggest fucking issue with it, because why are you hopping on things this early and saying that they're fact when you don't know if they're fact or not? And then in your response video to the allegations, you say, be careful what you believe. Ask questions. Believing real victims is important, but not believing fake victims is very important for real victims too. Well, in this case, do you know specifically, Dream, who the real victim is? Is it Shubble or is it Wilbur? Because either Shubble is the victim of abuse or Wilbur is the victim of defamation, essentially. And I don't think we know exactly which one, or who rather, is the victim. Because like I said, Shubble or Shelby showed very little to no evidence, so I'm not believing her quite yet. And then with Wilbur, he says that, oh, this didn't happen the way she is saying, and he said he has evidence to vindicate himself, but he never showed the evidence, so I can't believe him either. Like, I don't know who at this point is the victim, and you jumping this fast in a way to pander to make yourself look good for your own personal gain is pretty sick and fucked up. And if anybody disagrees with me on this point, like, really? I thought you guys really don't like Dream either, because he's slimy and does things like this. And some of you guys believe that the allegations that he disproved still actually 100% happened and he groomed people and blah, 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 blah. So why are some of you praising him as if like he is a good guy for doing this? Like, I just don't understand it. It's mind-boggling. Like, regardless of the situation, he's fake as fuck. And I really doubt he gives a fuck about really anybody or their allegations or people being abused, despite him claiming he was a domestic abuse survivor. Now, anyways, moving on, the last part of this video, I just wanted to talk about, there was something new going around on Twitter regarding Wilbur and some new, I guess, allegations and things that people were trying to use against him. I actually found out this information from Lyrics, and I know some of you guys are not too big on Lyrics, but in my opinion, he has been doing some really good work for this situation, and he's been covering it pretty well. In a stream that he did last night, he went over this tweet, and it's talking about Lovejoy, which is apparently Wilbur's band, and people who have nothing to do with the situation were named here, and apparently it looks like people are also going after the band members, all because Wilbur has been accused of something really bad, and he happens to associate with these people. This person says Lovejoy, they put Mark, bought McDonald's during the strike and posted it. Ash, racist remarks. Wilbur, domestic abuser, fuck Wilbur Soot. Once again, we don't know if that's 100% a fact, so you're fucking delusional. Joe, nothing. Concussion, love Joe. I mean, you can just tell like the mental capacity and like how smart and intelligent these people are. They're not. They're literally not. Their intelligence is literally non-existent, because like, what is concussion? We don't even know how to spell conclusion. Like, what the fuck? But anyways, yeah, though, it's really crazy to go and witch hunt like the other band members because they associate with Wilbur, all because he's being accused of something really fucking bad. Like, that is so fucking weird. That's literally stan culture right there. It's just insane. And this is the shit that Twitter does. Like, people who literally have nothing to do with the situation are just being attacked for no reason. That's how ruthless these people are. It looks like we got a tweet here from Jalen. Jalen says, go fuck yourself, abusive piece of shit. You're an awful person. You don't deserve a platform. You need far more than therapy. How you could ever think it was okay to treat someone how you did, I have no idea, but you need extensive treatment. You know, when talking about this tweet, I actually did see a little bit of Jalen's video, and when I was watching, I was wondering, why the fuck are we believing things at face value when there's no fucking little to no evidence? Like, whatever happened to waiting and like fence sitting? And then to go on and say you need far more than therapy, like, that's just really insane, Jalen. That's pretty insane, especially coming from you. Yeah, we won't talk about Jalen's past, but I mean, if you guys know Jalen, yeah, I think Jalen should be one of the last people talking about how other people need therapy or more than therapy. Lyrics tweeted and said, calling Wilbur Soot an abuser criminal isn't good enough for these creatures on Twitter. Now they are insinuating he's some creepy pedo for being friends with other creators when they were minors. Twitter user mentions how they met when she was freshly 18. What the fuck does that mean, LMFAO? Yeah, man, freshly 18, freshly an adult. I mean, I don't see a problem with that, let alone for just only being friends with somebody. It got me thinking, not only has Wilbur known Tommy, Tubbo, Ranboo, etc. when they were young, Quackity and him have been friends, or were, for 7 to 8 years now. So Quackity also met him when he was young, literally 16. There's repeated history of him friending minors. It's so gross. Now, just for a little bit of context here, 7 to 8 years ago, Wilbur was around 19 or 20 years old, and realistically, I don't see a problem with him being literally friends Friends, by the way, only friends, nothing more. They just happen to be friends because they're content creators in the same fucking community, right? And to insinuate that he was doing weird things with minors or that he was trying to take advantage of minors is actually something that is pretty fucking disgusting. And this tweet, by the way, has almost 30,000 likes on it. Next tweet says, Tommy was 15 when he met Wilbur. He was around 23 years old. He always looked up to him, saw him as an older brother, so don't pressure him to talk. Also, there are videos of Wilbur acting aggressive towards him. Their friendship was always weird. Wilbur had a weird codependency on Tommy. It's only fair to extend some sympathy towards him right now. He already stated his support for Shubble.
You actually just caught my nail.
I get out the shower at fucking 5 p.m. after laying in bed for 3 hours on my phone, and the only reason I'm getting out of bed and going to my computer is because Tommy in it has said, "Come talk to me." He's my best friend. He's my best friend, and I used to tell him how depressing that was that I'm best friends with a 16-year-old, but it's not depressing. It's not depressing. He's a fucking legend, Tommy in it is. Pish Posh, you don't get the 5 subs. He's a fucking legend. He deserves every bit of success in the world, and I've said that from day one. You can fucking look at interviews with me from fucking day one when he had 100k subs. All
right, now when it comes down to the first clip, I mean, this might be like the most foreign concept ever, but when we used to hang out with friends in a group in like high school, middle school, whatever, or just in general, regardless of the age, if you're trying to fuck with somebody, like untie their shoes, like, I mean, if I was in that situation, I would have kicked his hand too. Well, maybe not stomp on his hand, you know, or really try to hurt him, but like if you're trying to fuck with me, like, you know, those were things that we would do in the friend group. Like, we're acting like this right here is like some sort of abuse or something. Like, how is this abuse? Or being aggressive? Like, how is that being that? Maybe it's a little bit much with the stomping, but I mean, honestly, if you ask me, if you're fucking with my shoes and my shoelaces, bro, and if you're fucking with anybody's shoes, like, don't expect to not get your hand stomped or kicked or something like that. Like, we're acting like this is some sort of damning piece of evidence or something that further makes Wilbur a bad person or something. Like, it's so bad faith. It really is. Now, with the second clip, I don't really think he meant that. And once again, this is just my opinion, but I really don't think that he meant that as in like, oh yeah, I'm like some weird child predator or something, like, or like I'm manipulating and, you know, using children. I don't know, but I don't think realistically it was that deep. And the fact that people are trying to use this as something against Wilbur and to say that he's a bad person for this is just fucking wild to me. And these people will literally do anything to cancel and literally destroy somebody's reputation. And it's crazy too, because you see all this stuff come out when a really damning allegation comes out against this person. But before this, when there wasn't a damning allegation, nobody talked about this. Nobody tried being petty like this and tried to expose him and insinuate that he's some sort of pedo for this stuff, for being friends with people who happen to be younger than him because they're in the same community making the same videos as him. Like, man, this is just so crazy. It really is. And if any of you buy it, like, stop buying it. Do not buy it. I see that people expect me to say something about the situation. Truth is that I was freshly 18 years old when I met him. While I did not see a problem with it back then, I can now see how harmful he was to my young self and how damaged I am from that time. Man, that's actually kind of funny. My time in the UK had some of the darkest moments of my life, and I think people can tell from the way I used to act on stream. I still can't think too much about everything that happened back then without shaking, and I don't want to. I always felt so unheard whenever I brought up any situation regarding that time. I don't want to say more as I don't want to make the situation about myself. Well, I mean, you're quite frankly talking about yourself, but at the same time, you were freshly 18. You were 18 years old when you met him. And what did he do to you? I mean, like, you don't even explain what happened. You just say, oh, I'm damaged from that time, the time that I was in the UK. Like, look at these people being so bad faith and disingenuous. It's like, it's fucking insane to me. I mean, at least if you're gonna make a tweet like this, let alone that it has like 100,000 likes on it, if you're gonna make a tweet like this, please go into depth instead of trying to make it seem like this guy was just like a big pedo or something, or like a child diddler. Like, it's really fucking insane that this got 100,000 likes on it, because this tweet is literally nothing. They're just trying to make him look bad without even like showing anything, without even showing evidence or even like alleging anything happened, honestly. Like, these people are so mad. They just want somebody to cancel, and they have somebody to cancel, so they're just making up all this random shit about him, and people are fucking buying it. Like, it's just insane. This is what Twitter is like, and it's fucking terrible. Like, do people not realize that this is bad for all of us? If anyone can just go to Twitter or any other social platform and make baseless allegations against somebody else, and then everybody just just believes it out of nowhere without any evidence, really? Like, do you not realize how bad that is? Like, I could come out and call you like an R word or like a groomer or a pedo and not show any evidence, except for me if I were to do it. I mean, people, they would definitely ask for evidence and people wouldn't just believe me at face value. But for a lot of people, especially people who are in the Minecraft community and like their audience, like people will just believe baseless claims without evidence any day of the week. They won't even question it. Even Dream's talking about how like we need to ask questions and blah, 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 blah. But he's over here stating this as if it's like fact. Like, that's so bad. Anybody can just get falsely accused of something. And if you don't have evidence, because apparently now you need evidence to back yourself up, it's not like how it's supposed to be innocent before proven guilty. No, it's more like now guilty until proven innocent. And that sets a really bad precedent. It really does. And I really hope people start realizing this. And I know a lot of people aren't going to take my video and receive it in a good way, but I hope you guys realize that like if somebody was actually abused in this situation or somebody was actually being slandered in this situation and I knew it 100%, I would 100% defend them. But it's just too early to say who is in the right and who is in the wrong because we simply just do not know. And the fact that people are out here just like making the most baseless claims against each other and stuff like that, specifically towards Wilbur and like trying to use the littlest shit against him is pretty pathetic. I mean, I have no other words for it. And I really hope you guys can see where I'm coming from. Now, I guess besides that, I'm going to be wrapping up the video right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really can't wait to receive some really good comments on this video. But anyways, if you happen to enjoy the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so it gets promoted more in the algorithm so more people will see it. As of recently, we've been having a lot of really good videos. They've really been hitting the algorithm and search. So I wanted to thank you guys once again for stopping by. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being a member to the channel. Your support really means the world to me and I really appreciate it. And with all that being said, wait before you hop on things. Make sure you always ask questions, Dream. And yeah, my name is Breone and I will see you in my next video. Peace.